What do I like about my aviary for my parrots? And specifically, I've got Parrotlets in my aviary. Hi, I'm Kaylin, the author of the Parrot Bliss Bond, which you can get on Amazon to help you have a blissful bond with your parrot. I am also a novelist. You can get Cake by the Ocean if you want something fun to read, although it doesn't have parrots in it, so it's still good, but you know. In this video, we are talking about my aviary, what I like about it, and if I was going to redo it, get a new aviary, what I would change. So having an aviary for my parrotlets is amazing. It makes me feel like they have room to really fly around, not just like if I bring them out, but they have room to fly around. And they can be a real flock in the sense that they can hang out with each other. They can pick a friend because instead of only having one or two or three cage mates or whatever, like they really have more, more of a flock, and so they can really choose who they want to be with. I love that. I love being able to walk in myself and hang out with them, which I do. And I love that. And then they get to choose to come to me or not. Sometimes I put seeds in my hand and I have them come and eat out of my hand. Sometimes I just sit and see who comes and hangs out. And so I absolutely love that. It's being in there with them is just like such a neat, different experience. The fact that they really have room to fly around is really nice. Come here, Sushi, come here. And you know, with an aviary that size, one of the things that happens is that there's kind of like room for everything. There's plenty of perches. I have a little hamster wheel. Sometimes they use that and they play on that. I have plenty of feeders, you know, all sorts of things like that. It can accommodate those things. What I don't like and what I would change if I could, or if I was getting a new one or designing one myself kind of thing. And by the way, I also have Tinks oil for you. You can get it on parrotbliss.com. Tinks oil is a stress relief. So if your parrot is stressed out for any reason, they're plucking, they're having separation anxiety, anything like that, or if you just want to help them strengthen their immune system, it supports a strong immune system. All right, so you know, I will say that the thing about the aviary is it was relatively easy to put together. If you have ever put a parrot cage together, you know the instructions are kind of like IKEA instructions. They're pictures and they kind of make sense, but you know, you figure it out. They're not always super user friendly, but you can figure it out. So it was figure outable. What I don't like and what I would change is the side walls, because it has a frame, and then the side walls, which are, you know, the little triangles or the little diamonds, they're sheets, and the sheets kind of go in a groove, and I have a picture for you. And so they're supposed to sit right in the groove, which would be perfect because they do have just cut little edges, and so those edges could be dangerous. But one thing about the sheets is they don't really fit in like a frame. You know how you put a photograph in a frame? So you have the glass and you have the wooden frame or metal frame, and you put your picture on top of the glass, and then you put the back on, and the picture fits in the groove between the frame and the back, and it fits perfectly, so the frame holds the picture up. Well, for the aviary, it's not like that. Some of the sheets, they don't quite, like if this was the rail or the groove for the sheet and you bring the sheet in, it doesn't like go all the way in. And sometimes some of them are even a little short, which is the picture you should be seeing now. To me, it's like they didn't quite make it right. They cut it too short. I don't know. So that has not been an issue, but to me it's a potential issue. I watch that, and sometimes what I will do is on the edge where it's a little open and there's a little exposed sheet for the wall, I'll put a dowel there so that the birds can't get to the opening. They just have another piece of wood that they can either perch on or bite at. So that's how I've resolved it, and I feel like I've done a great job with resolving it because it's sort of like this positive turnaround because the birds can use it and now it's not dangerous. But to me, I don't like that. That isn't made well. So that's sort of a problem. I think that's part of the price you pay with something like this. Maybe if the sheets were longer, people couldn't fit them in. I don't know. It was several $100s. The cage or the aviary, we got it a year or two ago, and it was like $600. And for a aluminum aviary that is very lightweight, so that's a really nice advantage for me. On the one hand, like the nice thing is I can move it around easily. On the negative side, it's very bendable, and so I could easily put small parrots in it, but I would not be able to put large parrots in it. When we were building it, my macaws were in seventh heaven. They were like all over it, and I think they thought it was for them. And hiding parrotlet. And yet the macaws, they would just break the sheets. They would break the aluminum. It's too light of a metal, or the walls are too light for big birds. Even there are some medium-sized birds that I just don't think it would work. Now I can put my conures in it, and I have moved them around. I like to rotate my birds around. So I had put my green sheet conures in, but the problem I've had with them is the green sheet conures and the crimsons were in there, but the door, because it's just one door, the birds, they fly out. I haven't had that problem with the parrotlets. I don't know why. Maybe the parrotlets are really happy in there and they don't want to come out. I don't know. But the conures, for sure, it's a problem. So if you had this aviary outdoors, I don't know what you would do. You would need some sort of second door. I've thought about hanging a sheet, like maybe a shower curtain or something, so that I could get between like the shower curtain and the door, which doesn't quite sound like it would work. But anyway, so that's also a problem. I feel like it could use a second door, which would be a little difficult. It would need the way a lot of houses, the front door has like an extra space, and so there's a double front door. You can walk into the first front door and close the door, and then open the second door and walk in, and then that way the birds, if they happen to fly in, they would be stuck in between. So if you were getting an aviary like this and putting it outdoors, which I expect is the intention, that could be a real problem. You cannot access food dishes and stuff like that in order to set it up, put the birds in, and not open the door. Like that wouldn't work either. And the door doesn't lock. It's just a simple latch, which the birds can't get to. But, if anyone walking by just flipped it up, your birds could fly out. And so that could be a problem. It isn't a problem for me because mine's indoors. Now, indoors, I have a different problem with it. And that is that the bottom is no bottom. It's kind of like a doghouse where there's just no bottom. So we have rigged something where we put a sheet down and we tie it in, and then we just change the sheet out. And that means that the washing machine is taking care of cleaning it. We take the sheet outside, we shake it out to get any excess natural stuff off, and then we just have the washing machine clean it, and we do it often enough that has worked. It's just not an issue. Getting the sheet to stay, though, was a problem, so I had to cut pieces of wood big enough so that I can put the sheet at the edges, and then I put the wood inside to kind of teeth it in, because it just so happens that the bottom of the aviary does sort of have a groove, and then this is the floor, so there's nothing there. So I'm able to just have the sheet kind of overlap into the groove, and then I kind of lock it in with a dowel or like a 2x2 or 1x1, whatever it is that works. So that works, but it doesn't seem ideal. That means like if I was an aviary designer and I was designing something like this, I would make sure that the sheets fit better into the aviary because I think that's pretty poor. Potentially a bird could get out and they could also get hurt. I would have put access doors in for food and that kind of thing. I don't think you should have to walk into the aviary every time to take care of the food. Access doors might also give you a place to like hang the food or something like that, because right now the sheets are all I have as a place to put the food. And so it just so happens that I have enough dishes that several of my dishes have worked so that I can just hook them into the triangles or the diamonds, because you know I have a couple different bowls that have little teeth and they just kind of hook in, or my no mess feeder. Right now the camera's moving because a parrotlet just landed on the camera. So the no mess feeders, they have hooks, and so the hooks, they're a little hard to get in there, but not impossible. It's no harder than the cages. So it just so happens that my feeders work. But again, if you had a bigger bird at all, it just simply would not work because you wouldn't be able to get a nice large size bowl in for their food. Either that or you'd have to put it on the floor and that wouldn't work. So if I was designing it and if I had it to do again, sweetie, get off the camera. I would give access doors, and I would do something so that the access doors, you know, even if the door swung open and it had a little metal rail or something so that you could hook something on, or you know, or a little shelf maybe to hook something on, I don't know. And so I think you'd kind of have to figure that out. And of course it could have come the way so many parrot cages come. It could have come with its own little, whatever they did for the food bowl, and however it is the food bowl got held. So then it would be specific, you know, like everything else comes with its own food bowl. So this came with nothing. And so that would have been really nice. The same is true with hanging perches. It came with no perches and no nothing for a perch. A lot of people who have aviaries will have special hooks where the hook is like a C and then the perch will lie in the hook. And they do it that way, and it's a thick C so that the birds can't eat at the edges of the perch, which they love to do, because otherwise, you know, the edge of the perch dies and then it falls, the perch falls. So it's kind of like this protective for the end. And anyway, that's what a lot of people do when they have anything custom built. And so something like that would have been nice, like, I don't know, anything to hang perches. And so I have dealt with it by doing things like I have perches that hang from the ceiling, rope perches. I have hooks. I have these big J hooks kind of thing, or kind of like an S hook that has a nice mouth, so I could put the wood, you know, in the hook, and it kind of lays. They can fall though, so it's not perfect. I could, there's somewhere I drill a hole into the dowel, so to speak, and then that way it can sit in that hook, and that holds them better. So like rigging things and putting perches in hasn't been a problem. These are all things that I've been able to work with, but they are little challenges that I think that, you know, if I had a company and I made aviaries, I would include those things. I would have suggestions or some sort of system for the bottom. And again, I guess if it's outside, people just assume it's just going to be either on a cement base or on grass or something, and it just doesn't matter. And so that might make sense to me, but I feel like the safety of some sort of second door and access doors and something to hang perches just would have made a lot of sense. I hope that helps you. I think I'll end this with, would I recommend it or not? And the answer to that is, I just have too many parrotlets that are happy in there. They like it when I walk in. They, you know, they do. Like some of them keep their distance because they're not as tame. And I have some that come right up to me. So it really serves the purpose. I feel like it meets our needs, not perfectly, and I feel like they're are definitely things that are short, but it is a wonderful thing for my smaller birds. Like I said, if you had lovebirds or something like that, it would be fine. My cockatiels would be fine. My parrotlets are fabulous. I think my conures were fine, except it didn't work. I mean, I'd have to figure something out because they can fly out. So if you have a small parrot, I would use it. I would think, I don't know if anything smaller like finches, I don't feel like those triangles are too small. But I don't know, like I can't say because I've never tried that and I don't have like finches to put in there kind of thing. So I can't speak to that. But yes, I would recommend it with those, with challenges. If you're ready for a few challenges, then it's a fabulous thing to have. I think like in your backyard, if you can guarantee that they won't get out, or if you have a room in your house and you want to have them in your house, it's really cool. Thanks for joining me in this blissful video. I hope that you get a fabulous aviary for your parrots, because there's nothing better than them being able to have some sort of flock and really being able to get exercise and kind of a more natural, like really actually moving, instead of being in a cage where, so many parrots are in cages where they hopefully they could stretch their wings, but they can't fly. And so giving them at least a few feet to fly, because my aviary is, sorry, I should have said that. My aviary is like 5 by 5 by 6 feet high. So that's like some serious room for them for a cage. And so that is, it is something that is staying in my house, and I will continue to work with it and continue to work through issues. If you have any questions or comments, please be sure to comment below. And if you enjoyed the video, please be sure to like. It helps me grow my channel. And then I will catch you next time, unless you come to Parrot Bliss Flock group on Facebook groups, and I will see you there.